Now, after reading Exodus 16, it had me thinking that God can do so much for people, for us in general, and yet we still tend to complain. Now, can you imagine the Israelites was enslaved in Egypt for over 430 years? And that can be found in Exodus 12 verse 40, and God freed them. But each time they face a challenge, they reflect on their time in Egypt, proving that though they were physically free, mentally their mind was not free. They faced hunger and thirst, and the first thing they said was, in Egypt they sat around pots of meat and ate all the food they wanted, showing their ungratefulness towards God, their gluttonous ways, disobedience, and just us human beings in general flaws when we allow the flesh to take over because we lack self-control. God's intention was to actually teach the Israelites to trust in Him for their daily sustenance and not to hoard or accumulate unnecessarily. Because in storing up more than we need, we allow greed to take control, and so we have to be mindful always. Now let me share just few other Bible passages, that can relate to Exodus 16. But first let me ask this, your freedom over food or food over freedom? Because if you remember, when Satan tried to tempt Jesus in the wilderness, Jesus responded that men shall not live by bread alone, but by every word coming out the mouth of God. And this can be found in Matthew 4 verse 4. And then, when you look at how the flesh is, the next question is your mind on the flesh versus your mind on the spirit. Remember, the flesh is at war with the spirit every day, and so we need to be focusing on God always to help us. In Romans 8 verse 6, it reads, the mind set on the flesh is death, but the mind set on the spirit is life and peace. And then when we talk about possessions, if we look at Luke 12 verse 15, it tells us, watch out. Guard yourselves against every form of greed, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. That's why sometimes, if you compare somebody that have it probably in wealth compared to a person that don't have it, if that wealth was to be taken away from that person, right? If he didn't said his abundance is in his possession, is he able to cope and still live a normal, regular life? Pause for thought. You see, God knows our needs way before we even realize. God also knows our wants. Now, as long as our wants are in line with the will of God, He will make a way. But you know what? Let me just leave these few words of encouragement, and I hope it catches who it needs to catch. May we not store more than necessary. May we never sacrifice our needs, and when I say our needs, I'm talking about necessities for survival and well-being. Example, food, water, shelter, clothes, medical care. May we never sacrifice our needs for our wants. And our wants, these are things that people desires to enhance their life, like luxury items and entertainment. May we find and reach our path as we journey through our exodus. May anything God took us out of and we leave behind, we don't just become physically free, but also mentally free from such. May us and our generations remember God and show him appreciation always. May us and our generations know and understand that we have a dependable God that will never leave us or forsake us. May we learn to set aside a day for God so we can be in stillness with him. Now to God be the glory, great things he has done and will continue to do. So people, when you get a chance, just have a read through Exodus 16, right? And the few little Bible passages I've, shared with you all. And just think about, your life, and what you really want, and so forth. But don't throw things back in God's face when he actually took you out of something that was diabolical. Yeah? Anyway, people, don't forget, drink up on the water.